This is a real country cottage, and obviously practicality is more important than appearances here. This is a wonderful lino floor, ideal for mucky boots. There's an astounding collection of hats here. There are city hats, naval hats, military hats, opera hats, horsey hats. So these are very, very busy people who like dressing up. There seems to be an interest either in the sea or in drinking here. There's a wonderful model of a port ship, so possibly someone who likes a tiny port after dinner. Very simple drinks tray here. Someone with strong and rather eccentric tastes. I wouldn't like to make a cocktail out of that. Now here's a particularly jocular object. It looks a bit like King Mekong as a boy, a bagpipe-playing baboon. This room is very, very cozy indeed. It's a very, very English room, and I think that this person has a strong sense of being English. It's also someone with a very restless sort of mind. Look at all these brain teasers here. So this person has to be fidgeting with something constantly and likes to use their mind a lot. There seems to be a strong connection with the sea here. There's an immense profusion of ship pictures and maritime memorabilia, books about the sea, for example. It could almost be Orca the killer whale's sitting room. It is, though, a very conventional room, a very, very old-fashioned room. And that's why it's surprising to find this mannequin here. That's a very raffish touch. Now, this must be the music room. There are lots of musical instruments around here, a particularly fine piano, a trombone, a guitar. So this family must be very musical, but I think they have a rather amateurish idea of music. This guitar is missing a string. The strings have been very sloppily put on. So they like music at family get-togethers, but I don't think we have any professional performers here. Now, when you look at this piece of equipment, you might think that it's one of those newfangled synthesizers. Not so. It's an electronic dog. They save a fortune on dog food here. There seems to be a tremendous love of very stern women. There's a stern and dominating woman on the floor and an even sterner one hanging up on the wall. This tiny dining room has an ancient feel. It's the most cottagey feeling room in the house. Look at this gargoyle, for example. It's very primitive looking. And what about these low ceilings? It's very ego-boosting for short people. So possibly a small family lives here. Certainly a family that doesn't entertain a lot of people at any one time, because this table really can only sit 4 people. Now this room has a sort of seaside feel to it, because once again, like the drawing room, there's lots of maritime memorabilia, ship pictures, a telescope, and decanters. In fact, it seems like the den of a retired sea dog. This household certainly drinks a lot of tea. Look at that collection of tea paraphernalia. And how about this for a soothing cuppa? Let's look at the evidence. The love of hats, the old sea dog's telescope, the Iron Lady mug. What sort of person lives in a house like this? David, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Lloyd, as ever. And now, for our home and studio audience, here's whose house it is.
Holy shame.
Kenneth, you're not supposed to look at the audience and say,
well, it's so interesting, David, because you see, if you look at their faces, when they see whose home it is, that would be a clue, do you see? Because if there's a great, you get a feeling, oh, well, that might be something that makes an or it might be someone forbidding, you know what I mean? And that house really put me off, because I was expecting something quite other, you see. All that you begin with, you know, going in, lino on the floor, and a few hats on there, led me to think in terms of practicality. And I am a practical person, you know. Very solid looking place, ordinary lino, no grand carpet.
Okay, very good.
But then when we went further in, it got quite grand. And I thought, oh, well, it isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Well, I think that will have been very helpful to you.
Thanks, Ken.
Well, the horse riding hat
was muddy.
Ah.
That gave me a clue. But then there was also a Kaiser Bill hat with one of those points on the top. So I thought this could be somebody very old. Then they had a book of Baa the elephant. Now, I don't know what that means. And then they had so many things, you know, from the sea that I thought it was a refugee from Howard's Way. But then it had brain teasers, so I knew it couldn't be a refugee from Howard's Way. I don't know, somebody short who probably rides ponies in a Kaiser Bill helmet and thinks that they're terribly, terribly British. I don't know.
Christopher.
Great backup. I must admit, it's a sort of seafaring horse rider, which is a very odd combination. Somebody who's not a very good horse rider because they've got a muddy hat and they fall off a lot. Telescope, so they've only got one eye. That should limit it a bit. And there were all those things of stern women, weren't there? So basically it's a seafarer with a stern woman behind him. So it's Prince Andrew. Marvellous. Well, what a scoop. The Yorkshire Power. No, it doesn't
No,
seem
the
to
only
be.
applause was yours there, unfortunately. So now, in fact, it's the lady of the house that we are looking for.
Oh, is
Lady
it?
of the house. Oh, you're giving us a clue.
No, you...
Well, if it's a lady with the Nautical Association, you mean that the Nautical Association is not her. Yes, she is a lady who knew a bloke that had nautical. Well, then she was probably married to a bloke that was nautical, you see, which would explain the telescope and would explain all the naval stuff.
Right.
And
So
she's an
now you've got to
entertainer
focus on-
because she's got the hats and things, and she puts the hats on. Yes. She puts the hats on, and there's Mrs. Thatcher everywhere. Who does Mrs. Thatcher? What does Mrs. Thatcher? The mug. The mug was Mrs. Thatcher, wasn't it?
Yes. I think it's either Finch Brown.
No.
Or it's the other one.
No, it must be Janet
Oh,
Brown.
Janet Brown.
Indeed, we come through the keyhole of Janet Brown. Well, they got there, Janet.
Well, my word, but the things they were saying, that really got me. That was very funny. Very funny. The thought of me wearing all these hats. I never touched any of these hats.
Really?
Well, you see, the riding hat belonged to Emma, and she's never cleaned it since she was 9. It's just sitting there with all the mud in it. You can see what a housewife I am. And the other hats belonged to, well, there was a little sort of country-like hat, tweed hat. That was one of the hats from Peter's things in the Carry On films. You see, and of course, Peter Butterworth. And of course, Pete was a naval man. So that's why there's so many naval pictures and portraits and all that sort of
Well,
thing.
that's why I thought I'd better help them by, because they were trying to, in fact, put both the naval thing and the hats and everything into what would have been a very complex personality if you'd been served in the Navy as well yourself. It would have been very complex.
And who said something about had a very stern woman behind him, obviously.
It was Eve.
That was in the film. That was in the
Yes.
film.
Oh, I know that
Lloyd's
there were these women. When someone said he must be someone with a very stern woman behind him, that made me laugh.
I think the
Great fun.
stern pictures of Mrs. T. I mean, that brings sternness forward.
Absolutely, yes.
And
And I love
there's Mrs. T. There's Mrs. T as a mug, isn't there? As a
Oh,
mug.
yes, that
Mrs.
was
T
given
is
to
no
me.
mug, as they say.
Yes, no, I'm delighted to hear you say that. I really am. Everything loves you.
Oh, that Mrs. T is amazing. Do you have to change it over the years? Does her voice change over the years?
Well, it has changed tremendously because when she first started, she was terribly slow. You probably remember she really sort of was like a record running down, you know. But she really has pepped up a lot. She's very fast now. She's very quick. She still has all her little mannerism and things, and you know, leaning in towards you. But the voice has changed considerably, and so have the earrings and the jewellery. All become much bigger.
Really?
Oh yes, larger earrings, more pearls. So I have to keep changing.